I'm going to talk about spiritual warfare and how it can manifest. It can manifest in many ways, but one of the ways that it has manifested for me has been in um, barriers to me getting where I'm supposed to be. So I had this dream, and I write down all my dreams. Or if I don't write them down immediately, I might like record myself talking through it and then write it down. But anyway, actually, let me say this while it's on my mind. If you are a dreamer, if God shows you things in dreams, I encourage you to write them down and ask God to keep it in your memory until you are able to write it down so that way you can have it to look back on. I have several dreams that I've had that I can pinpoint to God giving me a clear vision of what was going to happen, even down to the dream that I had about my son before 3 years before I found out I was pregnant with him. So I had this dream back on June 2nd of 2013. And so I was going to a Mayweather fight with someone I was dating at the time, or I had dated rather. And me and this person had met up beforehand, but then we took separate routes to get there. So I got to the arena where the fight was going to be and went inside to go to the bathroom. So I was in the bathroom, and for whatever reason, I had a whole lot of stuff in my bag, clothes, shoes I brought inside the bathroom, and my purse. So I washed my hands and turned around to leave, and there was a bathroom attendant charging, but he let me out, so I didn't have to pay. So I continued walking around the arena to where I needed to be to go inside. So when I got to the bathroom, I wasn't even apparently I was inside, but I was walking around to where I needed to go, like inside to see the actual fight. So the bathroom was outside, kind of like if you go to basketball games or football games, the bathrooms are obviously not right inside where the game is taking place. So I walked around to where I needed to go, and then I ran back into the person I was dating at the time, and we walked to the elevators um, to go to the box that we were sitting in. And we got to the elevator, and there was this line of, I wrote here, people, or maybe not people. I tried to get through them, and one of them roared at me, like, and so their faces and bodies were covered, but the faces kind of could be seen through the covering, and their faces were metallic looking. And then I eventually got through them and got on the elevator and went up to the section with the person. And so what I've come to recognize is that the thing me and this person had in common is that we used to work together. And this was kind of a metaphor for my career journey. And the meeting up beforehand, we were at the same place, and then we ended up going separate routes. So we started in the same place, and then we separated and took different paths to get to where we needed to be. And for me, I took a pit stop in the bathroom, and in the bathroom, I had a change of clothes and shoes. And so for me in dreams, what changing clothes has come to represent is like I'm shedding old mindsets, behaviors, and attitudes, anything that would keep me stuck in the past. So changing clothes is transitioning for me. Um, the ironic thing of there being a bathroom attendant who was charging to let people out, um, but he didn't charge me to get out, to me shows that God had provided for me already. And there was already favor for me because I didn't have to pay to get out of this bathroom. I didn't have to pay to shed the past. I didn't lose anything to transition to this new place. Then me walking around and getting to the elevators, me walking around to run back into the person means we meet back up at some point, or we met back up, like, I think only career-wise speaking, we were in similar places. And But the crystal clear thing to me here that I've taken and that has just been a constant over the years has been the role of people, not people, the not people. I've come to realize that this was just like an orchestrated demonic attack. And when I think about all of the different challenges that I faced over the years with my career, with my first job, I experienced racism, sexism, misogyny, sexual harassment, and age discrimination because I was like right out of school. And my then manager at the time thought a particular role I wasn't going to be ready for because I was just fresh out of school. Granted, I had a bachelor's and master's in computer science, and specifically with artificial intelligence, with image processing, which would have let me do exactly what I wanted to do. And I experienced a lot of different things like that. So one boss thinking I was too young for the project or too new for the project, which I ended up doing like the very next year. And then I had another boss say that he didn't think women caught on to programming as quickly as men. And I think I've already mentioned how I let that lie linger in my head, knowing that I was the one that was tutoring my classmates um, and I was excelling in my computer science classes, even after I had gotten sick and was in the hospital and had to like catch up. Um, then, of course, the racism. Um, with that situation, I was able to report what was happening. And the minute I spoke up, it empowered other people to speak up about some of the things that they had been experiencing as well. And so every single one of those situations, even, after I had my son, me having to stay up late and study and prep for interviews before we moved back here, and the extreme stress that I was dealing with where I was working at that time, these were all different manifestations of those demons, of that spiritual warfare to keep me from where God wanted me to be. And I have to be honest, the number one thing I did was I began to pray and fast about it. And I really felt led to share this because I know we're in times where a lot of people are facing uncertainty as far as their career is concerned, or they don't feel, confident in how the job market is looking, or you may be in the midst of some of the things that I've experienced here. I want to let you know, like, prayer and fasting, God is the only reason I am still able to continue to press forward. I talk about that first job. I had a period, I think, of a month and a half, maybe 2 months, where every morning before I got out of the car to walk in the building, I prayed a spiritual warfare prayer before I walked in the building. And literally, as I prayed that prayer, God, like in an instant, was able to work things out for me. The next time I experienced like a big attack regarding that job, what God led me to do, He led me to the book, The Circle Maker, and Draw the Circle. And I was in New Orleans, I was in law school, but I just felt this tug to go home and be closer to my family. And so I was like, okay, I need to go back home. So I was trying to see if I could transfer back. But come to find out, I had a mentor, someone I had asked to be my mentor that was not telling the truth, like saying that I went AWOL, even though I didn't work directly for her. And thank God, my name was clear before I was able to move back. But what God did in me leaving, God blessed me with a pay raise. And then not even 9 months later, I got another pay raise equal to the amount that I had been due the last 4 years. And so in 9 months, I had gotten, I think, $21,000 in raises. And it was because I was praying without ceasing about it. I was praying that God would clear my name. I was praying that God would expose what was going on. And I was just kept praying because I knew like I wasn't doing anything wrong. And I was being obedient to what God was telling me to do. Same thing when it was time for me to study. I was praying and fasting and asking God to guide me and guide me to the right place for me and my son. And God did that. And so I have felt the tug for probably a week or two that I needed to fast. I needed to start my Draw the Circle Lent fast early. And so it's going to end up being 2 months of me doing this instead of the 40 days. So I'm going to do my Lent one. And then, of course, I'm going to turn around in May and do my fast before my birthday. But I feel the tug and the press on my heart to do it because, one, I have friends and family members who are being impacted by the uncertainty regarding the job market. I know that God is faithful. I know God answered my prayers and regarding my own job journey and my career journey, even to the point of where I am right now. And I know God is faithful. I know personally from that dream that for me, my career journey, I have been trying to do things in my own strength. And I needed the reminder that there's no way for me to miraculously get through and go upstairs to get to where I was trying to get. That was God's doing. That was God's intervention on my behalf. And so I want God to intervene on behalf of my friends and family and loved ones. And I want to remind myself that it's only because of God that everything that I have, my life, my health, my strength, my mind, my mental state, my job, me being back in school, like all of this is only because of God. And I want to reset because one, as I'm, transitioning into a new decade, I want to be prepared for everything that God has for me. But two, I don't want to carry old mindsets of doubt and fear and a lack of faith going forward. The Bible talks about the father whose son had epilepsy and was having the seizures, even though it was also revealed that they were due to demonic possession. He said, I believe, but help my unbelief. And Jesus had mercy on him and healed and delivered his son. And so, it's easy to doubt and to not believe and to not have faith. And I don't want that to be attached to me anymore. I want to be able to immediately obey, which means I have to have the gift of faith. I have to walk in that gift of faith. I prayed and asked God for it, and now it's time for me to walk in it and trust that He's going to always provide and always protect. And that doesn't just, it's not just for me. It extends to my family. It extends to everyone I pray for. And so I just really want to encourage you, one, prayer works, and prayer and fasting works. And if you're dealing with things that are rooted in spiritual warfare, you definitely need to tackle it with prayer and fasting. And I want to stand in the gap for you. I also want to stand in the gap for myself because I don't want to slip back into the old me of doubting and questioning myself. But instead, I want to know that I know without a doubt from this day forward that God has my back and God has His hand on me. And so that's it. Y'all know my prayer request link is in my bio. Of course, you can DM me, but I'll add you to my prayer board alongside the people that I'm going to be praying for. And I'm going to pray for myself too, of course. But I really want to pray for us to be able to persevere and have faith and trust that God has our backs and that God will fight the battles for us. I'm reminded, I think it's Exodus 14 and 14 or 13 and 14. But basically, I think it was Aaron told the people, or maybe it was Moses told the people that they would just have to be still. And so this is the time to be still. Pray and fast, but be still because the battle isn't ours. This is God's battle. And so I hope my testimony of how God has continued to elevate me in spite of all those obstacles that I faced. Every time I wasn't promoted, God promoted me. Every time I didn't get a raise, God gave me a raise. And God could do the same for you because He's not a respecter of persons. Have a good night. Bye.